Alright, before we start talking to the void, story time. So, when I was a much younger lad, circa 2006, 2007, back in the days when I'd more regularly go to the theater, I saw a trailer for a movie that caught my eye. Now, back then, found footage was just on the slightly into the newer era and was starting to pop up all over, but all the same, this movie kind of caught my eye as being something a little bit darker, a little more intense. Now, admittedly, I didn't get a chance to see this particular movie in theaters. Um, then just sort of got away from me. Though I never forgot the movie. I every so often would check around, never saw a physical DVD copy. I'd go out on my DVD buying binges, always a thought in my mind to at least check for it. I never had any luck, never got around to seeing this film. Then it's to the point now that I can't even barely remember what the movie was about. That film is the Poughkeepsie tapes. And I had hoped to actually have a chance to finally review it this month. Now, looking online to purchase it, the movie has become a bit expensive. And, however, one of the streaming services I've been using to watch a lot of these movies happened to have it. And I was excited to finally get around to reviewing this movie. So, as before, I settled down today to watch it, only to discover that the movie has now been pulled from that service and is currently unavailable anywhere again, without renting it on Amazon Prime, which I do not have, and we are back to square one. So, one of my two white whales that I'm hoping to review this month has gotten away from me, and, well, see if I can find a copy of it before the end of the month, but not sure. The other movie, that's my other white whale, hopefully I have on order and supposedly should be coming in, but I ordered it about 2 weeks ago and it hasn't even listed as shipping yet, so my luck has not been the best. Well, that aside, I'm Phoebe Rizzo, and let's start talking about the void with Suspiria! Another movie I probably should have seen well before now, and despite my consternation about not seeing the movie I had hoped to see today, I will say I did particularly enjoy this movie. So, Suspiria is one of those movies that has existed in the horror zeitgeist for ever. The movie came out in 1977 and is directed by Dario Argento, and that name carries a lot of weight in the horror world. This movie is beautiful to look at, I'll just say straight off. The soundtrack is something else. It really draws you in and is downright uncanny. The movie itself has such bright colors, and it's really hard to describe appropriately, but it's sort of like a psychedelic artwork as much as it is a horror film. That said, some particularly dark things happen, and definitely isn't one to shy away from some intense scenes. I will say some of the gore effects have become a bit dated in today's day and age, but the movie itself is very atmospheric and very effective. The movie is about a young American girl who's coming to Germany to learn ballet. She enrolls at a prestigious academy, and just as she gets there, a woman leaves in the middle of a rainstorm in sort of a blind panic. The next day, after she's properly enrolled, she learns that the woman who left was brutally murdered. And as she continues to get enrolled and begin taking her classes at the ballet school, strange things keep happening and more disappearances and unsettling behaviors begin happening, leading her to believe that the teachers may in fact be a witch coven. I will say this movie is very effective at atmosphere above all else. And for no other reason, just for the experience of watching it, I do highly recommend it. It's definitely one of the artsier horror films I've seen. And Argento's style is something else. I do know a remake came out a few years ago now, and I have not yet seen that one either, so I can't really compare the two. But from what I've been understanding through the grapevine, is that movie, while different, is worthwhile also. But I don't know if anything can really capture the essence of how Argento made Suspiria. It's a movie that definitely stands apart. Um, some of the voicing is a little bit takes a second to get used to, as the movie was essentially filmed silently and then redubbed over, since most of the cast it was filmed in Italy and most of the cast spoke like 7 different languages here. There was English speakers, German speakers, Italian, and essentially most people just spoke their own languages but recorded silently, and then it was all redubbed over in English. It was always intended to be an English release, but they did some interesting choices to make that work with the cast on hand. So some of the voice work is a little flat at times, but considering that the dubbing process, it wasn't too bad. It's head and shoulders above any sort of a lot of the other dub jobs I've seen, particularly above any like Godzilla flick. But the it doesn't detract overall, and some parts of it only adds to a little bit of the uncanniness that's going on with some of the characters' smiles just not being quite right. I do recommend it. It's probably one of the better movies I've seen this month, and probably my favorite one so far. Um, yeah, 2 thumbs up.